that's what I use for a Death Valley shower. And well, a lot of times I just infiltrate a room in daylight and shower in there. But I keep a gallon of water in the car or two, so you can rinse your genitals off, so you can come up with a story or whatever. I wasn't anywhere near that area.
You mean an alibi, not a story.
Trouble here, so I had to call again.
Oh, it's everywhere right here.
Yeah. Especially
trouble. Bad moon on the horizon.
Trouble on the line.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Well, hello. Welcome back.
Right?
Thanks, man. Sorry about the other day. I did see that you were able to find somebody last minute that was able to.
We found an adequate replacement, I'd say.
Apparently, Bill Burr was unavailable, so.
Yeah, we went down the list. Bill Burr, James Inman, Doug Stanhope. Tough David Tell. We eliminated James Inman for the same reason we got rid of Attell. They're just too expensive.
Maybe next time, James.
Hey, I don't mind paying Inman top dollar, but the fucking demands for a gift basket of Adderall, it's just like I can't do it, Jimmy.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you, Jimmy, but talk to your manager.
Yeah. His rider is impossible. You know how hard it is to find an old pissed-on Kenworth hat? And he's got the only other one.
Yeah. It's got to be aged, and it has to be aged on a sweaty fucking Buddhist head. So this is a rarity, Took it off a dead Buddhist. I went into a Buddhist church, sanctuary, Buddhist. I think they call them sanctuaries, the Buddhists.
I think they call them monasteries, but keep going. It's good.
Yeah, it was
sanctuary.
Some sort of airy.
It was like Karate
You find
Kid.
sanctuary there.
Yeah, it was like Karate Kid 3. There was, hot chick training for karate with some monks, and I took the hat off a dead one.
You found the only dead trucker monk in the fucking country.
Yeah, that's the first time I saw Hedberg. He was in Bellingham at the Elephant Castle, and it wasn't during the contest. It was a regular night during the up in.
Wait, was that a club in
Bellingham?
I know there was one that I remember up there that was owned by the guy from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Okay, no, this was a different. It was like if you put a comedy room in the middle of a TGI Fridays. That's what it was. The Elephant Castle, and it was like it was a real shitty. It was always a rough contest night, and it was an even worse regular comedy gig. Like I had a whole family. I was like, it was like my first time there, but I had a whole family tossed out. Like, I was being heckled. It just started with a few of them, and then it was like, and then I was like, I think I had 3 generations removed at once. It's like, geez, it's just like, it's the whole fucking table. And, but it was like, back in the day where they still policed a room. And by policing, I mean policed a room.
They put Grandpa in a chokehold on the way out.
They fucking stepped on Grandma's tit and shoved the kid down and raped it. They policed it, but it was like I got the whole family. It was one of the best. It was still my best. Would you just shut the fuck up? And then it's like, and then somebody else, and I go, could you get rid of all of them if you would? And they asked the whole group, and they left because they'd pay. They didn't want to hear any more of my shtick. Anyway, but the first time I saw Hedberg, he was in that same environment, and they weren't listening to him that much more than they were me. But he was just riffing about Karate Kid 3. It's like, man, why do they want to beat up the only hot chick in the school?
Some guys are into that.
Yeah. Now it's apparent, and that's how you get into law enforcement.
Yeah,
you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're a Republican congressman from Ohio.
Yeah, fucking loophole.
I assume.
Yeah, You know, those policemen are sure taking a beating, publicity wise, huh?
They're looking bad at this point, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. It reminds me that one guy, I think it was in New York, and the spiel he gave, it reminded me a lot of when I would go to the park and I got teased or something, and then I would say, all right, I'm going to take the ball and go home. And, you know, tears in my eyes. If you can't respect me, then I'm going to take my basketball and my batons and my tear gas and my grenade launchers, my machine guns, and I'm just going to go home and kill my wife because I don't have any way to get my aggressions out. I could have got. I started off. You know, when I went to college, I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, and I liked that show Hill Street Blues a lot. So my major when I started at community college was law enforcement.
What?
Yeah, I was a law enforcement major my first year at community college, and I worked with the black community and committing felonies.
Oh, you were like a Serpico.
Yeah.
You were like deep undercover?
Before he even knew it, he was deep undercover.
Hey, you don't hit the streets without knowing how to speak the lingo. So I got involved with petty crimes, and I skipped most of my classes anyway, so it was no different with law. I mean, I could have, you know, for as much as attention as I paid to law enforcement, I could have been a meteorologist. Because I was a teacher's assistant. Part of my work, whatever they give poor kids money, and you have to show up. So I had one of my jobs was in the sports department where I ran scams and made long distance phone calls to anonymous people and stadiums, and then another one I was a teacher's assistant for a weather. I never knew what this guy's thing was, but I graded papers and I took his classes. I think it was a meteorology thing, and I passed.
You think it was meteorology?
It was a weather class, and then one on climate, and I just aced my way through those because I was a teacher's assistant, and he didn't care.
You were grading your own paper?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I graded everybody's papers.
Right, but also yours.
Yeah. So I
made this from the guy who was giving people fucking stats for non-existent plays in basketball. He's given the correction pen on for all his students in his class.
Yeah, like this was in the let's see, 84. I mean, like in 1985, I had 20/20 ethics.
You were selling arms to the Saudis.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I mean, I bent a lot of rules, and I didn't feel any remorse about it, and I used black guys as props so I could steal. You know? I lied to everybody. I was accountable to nobody, and I could steal anything I could get my hands on. I would steal, and then I had no respect for other people's property. So really, I was ahead of the game. You know?
I like how you use the past tense for all those things.
Yeah. Well, I know. Growing up is just like that time where you stop doing what's natural.
And he's still 30 years ahead. He's speaking as if he's 30 years from now.
Uh-huh.
I'm crying. I like to commit crimes in 1950 style crimes in the future. I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. We'll take it apart later.
Yeah, you can't really gauge homemade treats. I don't think. Somebody made a Rice Krispie treats and sent them to me. And it's like, you know.
Whoa. Someone sent you some food in the mail and you ate it?
Yeah.
COVID.
Well, they said it had drugs in it. I mean, that's not just food, Shaylee.
It also has jizz in it.
Yeah. Don't worry. I wiped it down with Clorox wipes. And I sprayed Lysol in the air before I ate it.
Yeah. It just smelled the same if you put Clorox on it.
Yeah. You know what? So far, and I may be carrying the disease right now, but I it's like anything else in life. I get fucking scared. I worry about shit, and then I forget all about it, and I don't do fucking dick all about what I was worried about to begin with. I ain't washing my hands that much. I wear a mask just out of respect for the troops or whatever, but I don't give a shit. You know, I was worried about it before. It's like, I'm not that worried about dying. It's the living I got difficulties with.
Shit.
I kind of have that too, except for I don't worry about shit part. I just don't do shit about anything.
Yeah.
It's not a very peaceful life.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been lowering the bar around here for years, and it's like finally getting noticed. You know, just because I put fresh cut flowers out doesn't mean I'm cool. You know, with all this shit, I'm just doing that for me too.
You still gotta keep living.
I did. Oh, here's what you fucking don't do in the age of COVID. You don't take somebody's clothes out of the wash machine and put them on the floor while you dry your shit.
Wait.
At your own house or at a public laundry?
Yeah. No,
Andy,
well.
I can augment that a little. Let me do an addendum. Don't ever take anyone's clothes out of a dryer or a washer and put them on the floor. Listen, it doesn't have to be COVID related.
Listen, I keep a lot of my fucking clothes up on the dryer, so there's really no good place to put those clothes except on the floor, which is relatively clean. I'd say not COVID clean, but clean. And I set them on, and also I wanted to shrink these pants that I'm wearing. So
these are priority jeans right here. I don't put yourself on the floor.
Yeah,
it's a good thing you grew out of that, not having any respect for other people's shit, Andy.
But you certainly are lowering the bar. You definitely are lowering the bar.
Yeah.
So 30 years from now, cops are going to be putting other people's clothes on the floor.
Oh, yeah, they're already doing it in some neighborhoods. They're not accountable to no one. And then if their boss is looking the other way, there's going to be a lot of whites put on the floor. These weren't colored. These were whites.
Oh, you do your loads separately, Andy?
I don't, but I've been talked to about it.
Andy treats the coloreds and the whites just the same because he's woke.
Right. Yeah.
Those are both on the floor.
Right. And
no respect for either of them.
Yeah. And back in the day, I'd shrink up something that was meaningful to someone else, and I got an ear beaten about it. But it's like over the years, your ears get desensitized to the violence. And so I set these clothes on the floor, and then I'm in my sanctuary now. I turned this little room I'm in. I got it. Well, this is off subject here, but when you're painting a whole room and the ceiling and everything, is start with the ceiling. Don't do the floor and get all the walls and everything.
No, that's the last thing you do.
Yeah.
The floor.
Oh boy.
Ceiling first.
Ceilings drip like a motherfucker, and I let loose with a barrage. And the door was shut, and everybody's all shaky in there. I was like, "What happened out there?" It's like, "Well, I didn't put down proper drop cloths, and a
drop cloth."
Yeah, but this is my own private work area now, and so anyway, I went in there, and she's like very upset. I could tell. It's like I've upset people before, and I know what it looks like. And this was like that passive aggressive, like fucking pasted on pleasantry with seething underneath, like I do when I'm at the post office. And she's fucking flipping out on the inside, and I go, "Everything all right?" Unawares as my situation down in the laundry room was a fucking ticking time bomb. And that's what it was. It was I set her clothes down, and they could all be full of COVID.
Oh, this is all in one day?
Yeah, now the coat. Well, yeah, I was multitasking.
I don't think that it's even that she thinks you got her clothes all covered in floor COVID. I think it's just regular floor dirt that probably bothers her after having washed the clothes.
It's sending a message. If I had a shitty roommate, I would do that and go, "Look, man, just get your shit out of there in time." Okay. That's the kind of like I had a roommate once that I was definitely going to be leaving the place, and he cleaned half of the mirror in the bathroom. There's two vanities, and he cleaned half of the mirror and then right down the vanity. And it's like, I'm getting a message here. I think I'm leaving soon.
You think I should clean half a mirror?
I think it would be right in step with what you've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyway, a lot of the stuff was in clothes bags. So it wasn't like I just threw wet clothes on a filthy floor. There was a lot of stuff in delicate bags.
Are these clothes? So these clothes were washed and dried. Were they folded?
Hold on. You missed something there.
No, they were wet.
They were wet.
Hold on a second. He went back. If you go back, he said they were in delicate bags, which is those mesh bags that you put bras and panties in. So they were sopping wet, thrown on the ground, put in a mesh bag so as to actually show respect.
Delicates is a matter of opinion.
I think that this is the point where Andy's lawyer should object because
if Andy had a lawyer there, he'd be doing this right now.
Yeah.
Let me just say one more thing. In my defense, I thought I would get my pants out of there before anyone noticed, and then that other shit could be heaped back into the machine.
The old classic. It's not a crime because I thought no one would notice.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry because I got caught.
I like how you started off the story very self-righteous. Can you guys believe people would get pissed off? Well, put their clothes on the floor.
It was 9 minutes. It changed the course of my history.
Just to like, Andy, this is how like outrageous what you did was. Where we live here, there's a common area that goes from Doug's compound down into where Tracy and I live. There's a stairwell, and it comes up into a little outdoor laundry room that's enclosed. And other people in the neighborhood who are part of the compound, they will use the laundry facilities because it's right there. It's easy. You don't bother anyone. And someone used it and didn't transfer their wash from the wash to the dryer. And no one here touched it for over 3 days because it's someone else's stuff. It's not a fucking hurry. We didn't have priority jeans, that's for sure. Maybe that's the big problem. But there's an amount of respect when it comes to laundry, unless there's really a need.
Sometimes it takes too long for other shit to dry. Like, for instance, if I would have waited for Ralphie May's pants to dry proper, I'd still be standing there in Memphis, Tennessee going, man, these fucking pants are still damp.
To be fair, Andy, you don't even need pants for this podcast.
No, I don't. Yeah. But
it's a feel thing.
Much less the shrink to fit kind. Yeah. We don't care how tight your pants are.
Can we see the priority jeans, Andy? Can we see them?
These were because I got they're just camouflage pants, but I found out this is like, I'm not saying I've gained weight, but I'm an extra large in things that shrink in the dryer.
Wait a minute.
I was a large, and then I put them in the dryer, and now I'm gonna give them to somebody smaller than me.
So. Wait, those were extra large pants, and you put them in a dryer?
Yeah.
And now, come on, Andy, your waist is like 32 inches, maybe a 30.
Well, if I do enough math, I can get down to 30.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm 30. I'm probably, I fluctuate between 39s and 30s.
What?
39s?
I don't even know what an absurd waist size is.
That's about what I would wear. Yeah. I think I wear 38 to 40.
What's an Arthur Hinty? Although Arthur Hinty was just
48, 50.
He was just like a rotten cantaloupe. You know, it's hard to really gauge what size pant, because you could just cinch it up around that soft flesh. Anyway, fuck you,
that's
Art.
elastic. That's elastic territory there, where you're going with a 45, 55, 10-inch variants.
Here's what I've decided since the revolution started. I know I'm not really doing much during this revolution, but I've decided to wear only pants I can tie.
That's an important contribution.
Drawstring. It's a drawstring protocol.
No,
drawstring revolution.
I am Antifa, where I'm not a part of any group, but I got disguises and camouflage shit and some smoke bombs, and I'm ready to use them if anybody, it's like, hey, if anyone, like, I need a bullhorn up here, but I could, I'm ready to go. Like, if I hear the news, I got some mortars. Just waiting for further orders, Antifa.
Yeah, you're waiting for your 75-year-old Antifa leader to make contact with you.
The leader's still in critical condition. You're gonna have to wait for a little while.
Well, I'm waiting for that. Look, I mean, I don't mind working for George Soros. Is that how we say it? George Soros. But hey, man, I did some rioting on his behalf a few times, and I didn't get paid for overtime. So if you want me to go terrorize my hometown with a bunch of minorities, make sure that check clears, George.
Absolutely. It's important.
That is the best gag. They did it in Coquille. We talked about this while Brett was on, but they did it. They've done it in 3 Oregon towns now.
What was it? Klamath Falls, I saw.
Klamath Falls. And Klamath Falls.
Klamath? I don't know how to say it.
It's funny, though. It's like the new scam. It's like, oh, we're going to get a busload. I want to do a summer barbecue Antifa sign up.
Let's do a thing where we create talk about an unbookables gig. Let's do a thing where we create an Antifa Führer at a town, and we show up in a bus to do comedy instead of in front of a bunch of angry old white people with guns.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, Antifa's here, and they're all just like, hitting their fucking clubs into their hands, just waiting. Like, all right, here it comes. And then we just come out and we're like, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Andrist. And then he comes out and does that.
Oh yeah, no, we should tour all these towns. Like Coquille hasn't had their native. I did 2 gigs there when I did a comedy contest in Coos Bay, and then I did a fire hall, whatever, they had a banquet hall night. So the first time I did it, I did really good. Everybody was happy with it, so they had me back the second year, and I was just MC in Coos Bay.
Classic mistake.
Yeah, I don't even,
that'll teach them.
Probably there's a videotape that somebody held onto for spite of the second year, but so it was a volunteer fire department, and so pre-show, we're sitting around, and I'm like, I'm so new to this. I'm like, well, I only have 1 beer before a show. And I was like, I didn't do many shows. I was a MC in Coos Bay once a month. And then I did the Coquille. So this is like, my main gig, the Coquille Fire Hall. And unfortunately, on the second year, while I was drinking my first beer, there was an emergency call.
They got called out.
Well, I took advantage of there was a town siren would go off, and usually the firemen were all over town, so that told you could drive like a fucking maniac. And every time I heard that siren, I'd step on it. I wasn't a volunteer fireman, but I knew it was a lawless time to drive. Nobody's gonna.
Your own private looting for 5 minutes.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, the car. I'd start, Dukes of Hazzarding. I called it. Getting sideways in the car,
and you looted the speed limit.
Looted the speed limit. I worked with the law enforcement because sometimes they would just set up at a main intersection and put their lights on, so all the local yokels that were drunk driving, could get there to get in their fire gear to go put out a trailer fire or something. But this year, I was getting ready and all fired up to do my comedy, a little nervous because it's my hometown, and I'm embarrassed to be even, so then that thing goes off, and then all the dudes take off, leaving me with their pig wives, horrifically boring, fucking ugly pigs. Most of them. I mean, I'm sure there were.
How many of them did you actually?
I don't mean you, Kelly Brignoli. But you know what I mean, Kelly. All the other ones. The fucking piggy Sandys.
It is horrifying Sandys. Playing your hometown.
Yeah,
right? Because my hometown is like Coquille. It's small. There's no stoplights. Yes. And one year, like 6 or 7 years ago, an old buddy of mine who's now the head of the JCs, which is like the little group that puts on shit. like every year, Walnut, Illinois has a big 4th of July celebration parade and a beer garden, and that's their like Walnut celebration days or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, we'll get you to play the beer garden comedy. We'll do a comedy thing." And I'm like, "I don't want to. I definitely don't want to do that." But then I asked for so much money, I thought they for sure wouldn't do it, but then they did it. So I'm like, well, now I got it.
You crazy motherfucker.
But it's frightening to be standing in your old hometown to do comedy in front of your 4th grade teacher. I mean, for me, for a different reason than for you, Andy, clearly. Yeah. But I was just worried about not impressing her, like maybe you were too, but like, yeah, there it is. Look at that.
I just thought
that's our most famous fucking building right there, the Walnut Water Tower.
What's the population of Walnut?
It was about in between 1,200 and 1,500 people.
Wow, that is.
Yeah.
My town was little, and it was like 5,000 or something.
Yeah. No, we had no stoplights. That's how I describe it. That says enough. That puts you in the right frame of mind. Yeah. But I mean,
we had a couple stoplights.
Well, Walnut will get there eventually. Hey. I remember one time my buddy Bob, this is like I was probably in college, and I was back home visiting, and with my best friend Bob House, great fucking guy. We were going out to eat somewhere. Like there's like this one restaurant that's like 20 miles away, some like place that does wedding banquets and dinners and shit. And we were gonna go there and eat. And in Walnut, at the edge of town, at that time, there was one highway that went through town, and they were redoing a bridge that was right at the edge of town. So they had one lane closed. So to do that, they had to have a stoplight there. The only stoplight they had ever had in Walnut ever, and it was only temporary. And as we're coming, one? Yeah, as we're coming up to it, my buddy Bob's wife Carol is driving the car, and it's a long, it's a long bridge, a long area that was one lane, and the light goes to yellow. And Bob's in the passenger seat, and he's like, "Go, go, 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 go!" And she's like, "What do you?" She stops, and then he's like, "Oh, fucking, god damn it!" Oh, we're like sitting at the light, and I'm like, "Bob, honestly, one stoplight you have in your town temporarily, and he can't even fathom having to wait for fucking traffic to come." It's like, yeah, that's the mentality.
Let's see how many heart attacks has Bob had by now. When I see that, Chad, what's that? I would like to get vandalize the town of Walnut by getting up there, crossing out wall, and putting lug. Nuts.
Well, that'd be perfect. We could blame it on people from Lansing.
Yeah, the Lansing vandals. Lansing, and then put cross it off and write lug, and then an S, and then write Antifa.
I do like the idea of an Antifa comedy tour, though. We could fucking tell towns that Antifa's coming.
Well, we roll through the small towns looking like
comedy shows instead of.
Whenever I first saw that they were doing that, I thought, oh man, surely that's like a kid or a comedian, maybe somebody is setting them up, telling them there's busloads of Antifa coming to their little shithole town and riling them all up. And then the more I read into it, it's themselves. Yeah, they fucking riled their own stupid selves up. Nobody even trolled them. They fucking just started rumors and then believed them.
Yeah, and then the guy got on his radio show in the morning that was the leader of it, and he was like congratulating himself, and then people were, "Hey, thank you for keeping the streets of Coquille safe." You fucking.
They considered it a success because they warded them off.
Where these guys are, that is like 3 blocks from where I grew up. So I'm thinking about making T-shirts that say "Battle of Baxter Street," Antifa, Antifa victory over Coquille.
I survived the Battle of Baxter
None
Street.
of them made. You know why none of them made signs? They can't spell. Yeah, spell. They had ample time, fucking, what, nothing, like we're gonna beat your ass, Antifa, or something. God damn idiots! Look at them. They all fucking went to Dairy Queen afterwards, and then probably several of the dudes. They don't have a glory hole in Coquille, so they've really gotten. That's why this kind of group can hang out like that.
I don't. I don't think the fascists ever make signs though, Andy. Because what do you like? We love fascism. Get out of our town, Antifa.
Hey, we're not that prejudiced, assholes.
We demand you lick the boot.
I thought about like just getting a fucking find a friend who still has a fucking muscle car, and then just trolling them with going by and like woo, and then playing like music like Idiot America or whatever. Just blast them with stupid shit. But I have a friend there who went out with an anti-Trump shirt, and he wore a mask for his. Luckily, and he got followed by the radio guy going, "Oh, somebody should kick this guy's ass." Following him around and threatening that, and then going, "Hey, if something happened to this guy, it'd be a real shame." I was like, one guy showed up.
Yeah, he's on the air.
Who is this fucking radio guy? Let's dox this.
What's his name? What's his name?
His life.
I don't know his name. I'll get it. We can put it up there. Because I got I'll post.
We'll destroy him.
He's Coquille. He works at the local radio station, but he was doing a Facebook Live on his way to work, and he was driving, and then I started trolling him about 2 minutes in, where I'm like, Coquille's always safe unless there's a bunch of retarded assholes with guns or whatever. So I got the whole thing. I pasted it with comments all the way through, and he goes, I know. I'll get rid of him. I'll block him as soon as I get there. But I could post that whole thing. It's like, it's in the aftermath where and people are saying from all over the country that have moved away from Coquille saying, thanks for keeping the streets. Like, if you looted Coquille, it would take like 4 Mexicans 35 minutes to get the whole town emptied into a van. That's it. They're standing in front of a fucking, it's like an Old West storefront. There's nothing in there.
The whole thing's like one of those old bits of like, I don't remember how this whole thing worked exactly, but it's like the old like, well, this here is an anti-elephant, this wards off elephants. Hey, there's no elephants here. See? It's working. It's already working. Like, yeah, well, I guess it worked. You can't prove it didn't work.
It would be fucking hilarious, but you'd have to be sensitive. Like my mom dressed me up like an Indian back in the day. That was one of my Halloween outfits. I'm going like, ooh, and making. I didn't get that. I was
supposed to be how, not ooh. But anyway,
yeah,
they're both terribly racist, stereotypical things for white people to do in an Indian.
Yeah, I had to modify it because I knocked on this was Halloween, and so I had to worry about elderly people who lived during the time of Indians. So I would say, woo,
they're gonna have
they know
flashbacks,
war paint and the whole thing. And but that's what would be hilarious right there is if you had like 30 Indians in traditional garb just right up the street on their fucking horsebacks in front of all those fucking white guys who are just fucking renting trailer spaces. That ain't your land, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But
the real Antifa is like a fucking bunch of Lakota Indians just finally taking shit back for themselves. That'd be great. I could get behind that.
The hilarious part is all these guys defending Coquille. Coquille's actually an Indian tribe. Coquille is an Indian tribe that lived there. And now these fat fucks are there going, man, I wish they had a McDonald's here. I hate getting out of my car and waddling into a Dairy Queen just to get a Puster parfait and a burger. If we had a McDonald's, I'd sit in my truck. Ignorant fucks. We got to drive all the way to Coos Bay to go to Walmart. There's where the fucking true Indians are. I don't know where that is, but they're probably. I've never met a
Coquille.
I've never met a Coquille Indian until they opened a casino, and then apparently I went to school with several people who were descendants. Like that big fat white guy's an Indian. Yeah, apparently he had 185th Indian blood. Now he's rich.
Yeah, my family, my grandma's an Indian, Andy. You would never know that I'm an Indian, but my grandma's an Indian, like to where my whole family is on the rolls, they call it, except for my mom never did it, and which means I can never do it because.
What's that mean? The rolls?
You get on the rolls of their, just on the in the records of the tribe.
So you take part in the advantages of whatever their sovereign nation.
Yeah, at this point of down from the, they weed it out, start taking away benefits as the blood becomes more diluted. But I think all I would have been entitled to is health benefits. And I used to go with my grandma to the Indian hospital, and it was just like a half-built building. It didn't have
not a
windows
benefit.
in it.
It was actually
all over
just
the walls.
Was it just a bar?
No, they weren't allowed to have liquor on the Indian reservation. That's why the bar right next to the line was
or medical help.
Yeah, we used to go to there was a bar right closest one to the Indian reservation, and whenever they'd get their paychecks from over there, a bunch of guys would come over and get fucked up, and then they would pass out in the back or get thrown out or whatever and go out to the back. And when we were in high school, we'd go over to them and ask them to buy us beer. I'll buy you a beer if you buy me beer, and they'd go buy you beer. And that was how we got beer, was the Indians. And then at some point, some of the assholes started what they called rolling Indians. We're going to go rolling Indians, and they would beat the shit out of them for no reason. And it fucked up our whole goddamn beer buying.
Talk about killing the goose that laid the golden egg. Kind of fucked up.
It was probably backlash over that Indian crying over the litter bugs. People were outraged. Like, why is this Italian dressed up like an Indian the only one who gives a fuck about white trash littering? God damn it.
I lived right next to the Indian reservation as a kid, so that commercial never made sense to me, because if you can go out there now, you can see they'll build housing developments and then basically just trash them, and then build a new one on the next spot over and just leave and move everybody over to those ones. So there's just rotted down buildings all over. It's a trash dump out there. Sad.
That guy was really sad because they closed Olive Garden. If he's still alive, he's probably outside of Olive Garden weeping over the COVID.
At that point, he was sad because Olive Garden wasn't invented yet.
He's sitting in his truck. Waiting for his takeout, crying because he can't join his Italian friends inside.
He just knew that was the last acting gig he was ever gonna fucking get. Probably. It's down to this.
He may have done some gangster shit. He was an Italian, so he might have aged well. The creepier an Italian guy ages, the better off he is for casting directors.
He was probably in the 4th hour of a Martin Scorsese movie.
Some of my favorite men to play with were Indians. I had General Custer.
Tanaka.
I had Geronimo as a counterpart to General Custer, and I actually I thought Geronimo was way more chiseled and handsome than Custer. So I preferred Geronimo, but he was the one. Geronimo, the action figure, was the one I always put on the door above, like Home Alone. Like my brothers would come bursting in when they get high, so I'd put that Geronimo, and he would fall on a hippie head.
Oh, he was a scout. He was your lookout.
He was one, and then I kept Custer in hand for hand-to-hand combat if it came to it. But they'd come pushing in, and Geronimo would hit one of their heads, and then they would and then they'd come in, and then I was like, "Ooh!" Like I had to act crazy because they were crazy. I remember the beatings, but there were probably a couple of times I scared him away from getting close again.
Acting crazy.
Well, acting crazy and swinging wild. That was my other thing.
Yeah.
I didn't fight until I got hit in the face a couple times, and then I would go nuts, throwing shit, flailing my arms, anything I could. Yeah, is that Warpath there? Shit.
Well, Big Jim had a bunch of series later on because they did the Western series, they did the spy series,
they had a
and I
read that article that you posted.
What? Yeah, I found out later that recently, because I once a week I do a bit of a Big Jim dive and go plunking around, and
you get the Big Jim pool.
I found out that Big Jim, his black friend, I think it was Big Jake,
Big Jack,
Big Jack. Big Jack was the same mold for Big Jim was used. They used different color plastic.
Yeah,
it's the same face and everything.
You read that wrong, Shaylee.
Why?
It's because you said that in the text, but when I was reading through it, it says here, Big Jack has molded black features, meaning that it was not a Big Jim head mold made with darker plastic.
I andied the article. Not. I didn't read it all the way.
Yeah, you skipped the knot probably.
Yeah, so they had to flatten the nose.
Yeah,
they flattened his nose and they pushed his lips up.
That's worse, actually.
Yeah. Terribly worse.
No,
my way was better.
Maybe they kind of made him. What was that fucking? I think Big Jack had a what was that handsome Laker back in the day? George Fox or is that his name? Rick Fox. Big Jack was kind of handsome. He was more handsome than I'd say. I mean, I shouldn't use that term because I was playing adventure, but you don't hang out with dudes in their underwear that long without noticing some of them are better looking than others.
I was reading some of the accessories that they came with in that article, and I didn't know that they came with dumbbells and fucking punching bag.
They came with a steel strap that went around the arm, and then they had a flexing motion that would bust the strap like a WWE. That was way advanced for way
show off muscle action.
Yeah,
I hate to say this because I think the Big Jims were a troop of fucking extremely gay liberals, but they kind of morphed into that group that went around preaching Jesus at the church that I ran out on. The power group that ripped phone books,
the power
their muscle.
Guys.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they could have gone either way, but I'd like to think that my Big Jims, even though they went through some really tough times, the van fire we'll never forget, losing Big Jack to the Redwood, all the fucking beatings and, the firecrackers.
See the arms here? How it's a different color?
There they are.
Yeah, they're like a plastic or a latexy kind of thing. And Andy, sorry, I don't mean to trigger you.
Oh no, I was just I used to rip their leg. You didn't want to rip their legs off, and very rarely did I ever rip their hands off. One time, but I would rubber band firecrackers to them, and one time I did blow a hand off. It does bring back memories. He got into the kinky shit after he lost a hand. I didn't realize I was I didn't want them to be G.I. Joes, but I was kind of conditioning them. I think probably, if they could have chose a profession after what I put them through, they probably would have got into law enforcement.
Here's the description from the article that Shaylee sent that was very extensive and interesting to read. It was the third most popular behind G.I. Joe and Star Wars. And then here's the description. Big Jim was the action hero who could master any sport on the way to his next adventure. That's all he
We're about to go kill some communists, but first a volleyball game.
It sounded like they just were like a travel show with Burt Kreischer or something. Oh, hey, we're doing this. Isn't this great? Yeah, all right. It's wonderful.
Well, they certainly had their shirts off, so that's
yeah, they didn't come up with a Burt Kreischer version of Big Jim.
They had their shirts off in place of comedy, so that's accurate.
You know what? There's not enough fat action figures. Especially back in our day. There's a lot of body shaming. I had the unrealistic expectation that I would grow up to be a Big Jim, and it turns out I was just Big Jim when I was about 12, and then I got molested, and I wasn't. Shit, man, I have tight abs, and
you think that the Dad Bod action figure series is going to be popular? Just sit around and drink beer and slap their wives around.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes those wives deserve it.
Your Big Dad action figure comes handy with a Vote for Trump T-shirt. And
look, he's doing a mimic of the he's got his knee on Big Jack's throat. That's funny. Big Jack's fucking not a Big Jack. I always thought of Big Jack as just another doll.
Yeah.
No racism.
Well, yeah,
there,
you were young.
Well, I didn't. I never. It's weird. It's like my dad was cruel to people, and he made fun of their faces and their height and everything. And but he never made fun. He wasn't. He didn't. I think he knew he was equal to everybody. But that the Andrus blood was equal to. We didn't go. We're better than anyone.
If you're making fun of someone's height or physical deformities, you're kind of, you're being mean. But you're
low-hanging fruit.
You're individualizing that sort of meanness to that person directly. You're not saying it's because of, it's not a whole race of people that,
I never heard my dad ever use any kind of racial term at all. But he wrote a whole book of proverbs that kind of sort of reflect on Larry. It's like, thou shalt not let a thief live within. And shit like that. I was like, whoa, Dad wrote a whole fucking book, Bible book. Like my dad could have had a book in the Bible if he was back in the day. But it was just
Larry.
Here's something I remembered about my dad. I heard a guy this morning. It was and this guy sneezing really loud in the distance, and I said, "Bless you." Really loud to kind of get him, but my dad used to sneeze, and he could say, and it's pretty easy because I did it, but you could sneeze words, and my dad would go on, and he had the allergies, and he would say, "Hey Andy," and he would do like 10 in a row. Hey Andy, and I would go, and he goes, "Oh, I'm just," and then I took that to I had a typing class where I would sneeze, "Oh shit." shit. Mr. Harvey, he wanted to discipline me, but he knew I had a loophole situation going there. But you can do that. It's pretty easy to go. You just think about it right before you do it and go, oh fuck this shit. And then, it's a talent, I guess. But my dad was he was a wise ass,
I guess.
Yeah. I can see why he got fired and why he was, had problems throughout life, as he was a prankster and a smartass, but he didn't really develop a team.
The sneezing thing is like the Animal House, coughing, blowjob.
Yeah, blowjob. Yeah.
But you can only do it when you randomly have to sneeze. That's the thing. You can fake a cough at any time, but if you're going to do it with sneezes, you're much more at the whim of actual allergies. And I
don't know why my dad got fired. My dad was, and we talked about this. It's funny because my dad was a grade school teacher, but he didn't even like his own kids. So he was just wanted to be. I don't know why, but he was an educator and he taught. And I heard a lot. I've heard from people that I run into when I was drinking in Coquille. They go, "Your dad was my favorite teacher," some down and out or whatever. But my dad taught 5th grade, and then the principal that was responsible for firing my dad called her Old Lady Blah. Ha ha, Old Lady Blah was among other things that he repeated at home. This was at home. I think my dad had trouble with respecting Old Lady Blah, and he got fired. And then the superintendent of schools in Coquille at that time was my future father-in-law.
Wow.
So my future father-in-law could have stepped in and gotten rid of the principal, who was a cunt. My dad, that Old Lady Blah, haha, that was my dad's way of saying she's a cunt.
Right. So is that who eventually hired Mr. Havers to teach 5th grade?
Yeah.
Because that seems like Mr. Andrus would have been a much better teacher just on the not raping students sort of aspect of it.
My dad would have.
It almost doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter how much you don't learn from your teacher. If you go unraped compared to the teacher who's raping the children, you've had a better experience.
Yeah.
Talk about lowering the bar. And your dad was my favorite teacher because he didn't put his fingers in.
Right. Yeah. So nobody says that about
no
Mr.
sawdust checks in your class.
Nobody says, "Oh, Mr. Havers was the best lover I ever had in 5th grade." And I probably said this, but I made out, me and Tony, we went in 5th grade, we went to the community building. It was an open gym, there wasn't bums sleeping there, oddly, but it was a basketball gym, a weird skating, a real dangerous skating rink, all kinds of things, multi-purpose thing. I did what would have been called a rave these days, but it was just that kind of building. And then there was a stage, and then me and Tony climbed these stairs to a scaffolding, like, sweaty, dangerous spot for two fifth graders to be. And we made out, and heavy petting. So when I looked at my fifth grade report card, I got low marks in a lot of stuff, but I can't say that I didn't learn anything from Mr. Havers, because he taught Tony and Tony taught me. So I learned how to French kiss via my fifth grade teacher, because he was making out with my girlfriend.
Boy, there was a lot of things that I never have heard anyone say before.
And that's a thing. I've never thought about this before, but it's the gross. I mean, to me, it's the grossest part of it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's not the worst part, really, but it's a part I had never contemplated before. And that is that a fifth grade teacher raping a fifth grade student is also French kissing them. Like, that's almost even more vile, right? Like, that's
groomer,
like,
grooming is different. Grooming is where they get you fucking turned on and convinced that you want more. And you're like, this is working again. That's why I'm so fucking wired wrong. It's like, when somebody's fiddling with your dick, it's hard to, like, I wasn't like adept at thinking of Richard Nixon's face back in the day. I was just,
Is that what you use now?
Thank God.
No, I use, I don't know what I use. I use Spleen's face or whatever to go, But, a guy takes you to Sizzler and buys you cheese toast and Malibu chicken, and then starts massaging your abs and your belly, and then tracing it down. Your body betrays you. And that's what it's the worst part. It's like, I wasn't, it's like, disgusting. Yeah, it wasn't, an erection isn't a green light. It's a confused.
Yeah.
I got erections.
It isn't always a green light, Andy. It isn't always.
Listen, as an adult, I've had erections when I have a warm cup of coffee on my lap, or a cat kneading on my crotch.
Dicks are fickle.
And
I
get
agree, Andy.
fully hard, fully aroused, I guess, or whatever it is. But that doesn't give the cat green light to jerk me off with its rough paw.
It's rough paw.
He got the old rough paw.
Going through the beers quick. It must be almost time to close this one.
Yeah, we're getting there. So how about this? Here's a thing that happened to me on my travels. Where we were all alone, and it was podcast recording time, and I couldn't get a podcast signal. So now I'm sitting there, and there it is. And
did you cry?
No, I didn't cry. I had a Bloody Mary, and I was sitting all by myself. And my girlfriend, I had gone into that room right there, and she was sound asleep. So I came back out, and I'm like, well, she's sound asleep, and there's no one else around. I've heard about this nature jacking thing. I've got the mountains in front of me. I've got bushes. I've got some trees. There's literally no one within miles of me. And I was just to the right, as you're looking at it, to the left, but as you're looking out, I was to the right of that picnic table in a folding chair. And just as I'm just about there, all of a sudden I look over, and Carrie Mitchell is standing on the porch.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I thought you were asleep. So my first attempt at nature jacking, and I got busted, man. There needs to be some
she
sort
can
of
spell fun. She can spell fun and ruin it instantly.
I would call it nature blocking, but she kind of eclipsed you. She eclipsed you.
It's horrible. It sounds like if you didn't look around, she would have let you finish, though. That's polite.
It was. Honestly, it was one of those things where she probably would have, but it's like you're so high. I mean, and maybe Andy is a little more used to this, but you're so hyper aware of any sort of movement in your periphery, like
your senses are heightened.
And then you're like,
it's like a gazelle
thing in it. And then
it's like a gazelle at a watering hole, Aunt.
Yeah. If a gazelle just took its hoof and went at the end of it.
Well, I never got there.
I know. If you have, that's why you keep a bottled water in Death Valley. Just put it on the dash, and then you have warm hand rinse, and
that's
I nature jacking.
The driest place on earth.
Well, my next TED Talk is going to be
highest
called
recorded temperature in America.
Yeah, my next TED Talk is nature jacking in the age of COVID. I think it will be very interesting and insightful.
Your next TED Talk.
That's when I just talked to a homeless guy named Ted.
About jacking off. Where do you jack off, Ted?
And he's just asking for crack.
Yeah.
But,
Talk about rough paws.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with the nature jacking is you do want to keep your hands moist, or I don't know. I mean, maybe some Montana rugged fucking outdoorsman,
Mm-hmm.
But I like to be romantic.
Well, I think you should definitely have a pamphlet or a brochure or something with some handy tips, because I definitely should have
laminated too, so you can rinse it off.
Absolutely, yeah. So it doesn't get webbed.
Yeah,
I have to give it a try once you get the instructions up.
Wear it around your neck like a
medicinally.
Yeah, you picked up that nugget today of warm water on the dash. Oh, you're not drinking that, are you? You're not drinking that water.
No. Well,
as soon as you go to sleep, I'm using that.
But that's what I use for a Death Valley shower. And well, a lot of times I just infiltrate a room in daylight and shower in there. But I keep a gallon of water in the car or two, so you can rinse your genitals off, so you can come up with a story or whatever. I wasn't anywhere near that area.
You mean an alibi, not a story.
Remember when
a story is what you tell here, Andy. An alibi is like, I didn't touch him. Her.
Yeah. Well, that one time with Cock Tease Kelly, I was having relations, and I thought we were hidden by a tarp, but it was during the daylight, and our legs were exposed. But I was thinking of Inman when he tried bagging that chick that was sort of she wasn't knocked out. She was, you remember Jessica?
Is that when he dragged the air mattress through the desert?
Well, they were going to make love, and then the air mattress lost its air, and I think so did the romance.
Did she come too? Is that what happened?
That's probably all I should say on that. I don't want to be a witness, but he come back, and she was, it's like consensual sex doesn't have to be something that everybody's happy about later. There's always going to be buyer's remorse, and I think
always
that's what we got. She didn't say there was any kind of shenanigans, but it was unpleasant and not very cool.
Yeah, it's mostly like any sort of interaction with Inman. You go into it with at least some sort of agreeable hope. Yeah. And then by the end of it, you're like, well, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. What are those little things you put on your lips? Like those little round ones? Like I had one of those, and Inman dug in with his, and this was when we're on the roader, and he dug in.
Oh,
Carmax. Inman dug into my Carmax with his fucking his fingernails.
That wasn't a very good description. I think I just won a prize.
Yeah.
What is that little round thing you put on your lips?
Yeah.
Carmax?
Cock. But so Inman's got dirty fingernails. That's my point. And he's like dug into my Carmax. It's like I see his fingernails, and then he's like, and then he goes, thanks, man. And I go, here, you can keep it. Gave it to him.
Thanks for playing.
But that's it's like if you got banged by Inman and then you see how dirty his fingernail, like things like that. Like, yeast infection.
Oh, he's got the fucking thinking. Copenhagen spit in his mouth when he's trying to kiss you. One time, this is hilarious. One time, early morning, sunrise at Death Valley, I see Inman and I see Jessica. Wait, what's her name? The waitress. Doesn't matter. We don't need to.
No, the waitress that lives down below. Okay, anyway, we won't name names. Minneapolis waitress that lives down the street.
No more information.
Was in Bisbee, was making out with James Inman, and I just like that's what I saw first thing in the morning because I'm a morning person. The tail of the evening, like the end of Mardi Gras, and I had a beverage and I spit taked James Inman making out with somebody, and it was hilarious, but only for me. It was hilarious for me.
I told you on here before my story of my Inman fright when we got to Death Valley one year, coming off the road, like literally just pulling the car up in front of the cottage and parking. People the thing's already going. And we're like, yeah, we're here. And someone's like, yeah, everybody, they're here. Someone tosses you a beer and you're like, yeah, you fucking drink. But I had to piss. So I went right to those bathrooms on the side of the restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's
Public restrooms.
Public restroom. I swung the door open and there's Inman just shirtless and taking the stinkiest shit. And he's just like, and that was
angry.
Yeah, you talk about the Buddha. That was
it's like opening the door. Yeah,
it's
it's like you can't open a door and it's Sam Kinison doing his closer. It's like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's such a beautiful place, and that has to be one of your memories. Oh, that's so sad.
One time I was setting up the tent and Inman's like, oh, stumbling drunk. Like I'm just get there and it's like early morning and he's stumbling drunk and fell over the fire grate. Oh, God damn it. Yeah. That's the second year. The first year I ran into him and we were on that, like I said, on that rock wall. And then I got up above with him and he's sitting there all shirtless in this pond that you have to fucking crawl to get to. And Inman's up there sitting in it, and all I could think was Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
fucking that's him.
Colonel Kurtz.
It's just a grocery clerk sent on an errand.
Yeah, James. That's him. I was like, oh my God, I made it. It's a fucking madness, and what are they gonna do to that sheep? Or whatever it was. Was it a goat? It's probably a goat. I don't know.
It was a cow.
That's why I ain't. That scared me off of going to Vietnam.
You made the right decision. Let's wrap it up and come back on Patreon. What do you say?
I'm in.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before we go, I do want to tell you, I did find a doll. A Big Jim.
Oh, really? Is that really? Personal stash?
Nice.
It had to be done.
That's the machine.
So hey, yeah, we're gonna take a break and go to Patreon, right?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And all the rest of the stuff that we plug every week, you know it. Go subscribe to Chad Shank's Twitch channel. There it is. There's your information right there. HD Fatty on Twitter, and there's your link, and you can do that. And send Andy money. Send Andy money on Venmo. Go ahead and do that. All right. There we go. That's nice.
I don't know what that was.
I'm doing
good luck.
Fine.
Edit that out, Todd.
I read the thank you to.
No, it's fine. It was a thank you. The thank you with just names on it. There's nothing wrong with that. So we'll make a drink and we'll come back. And if you guys want more and you're not a Patreon subscriber, you can become one very easily. It's just $5 a month for 2 podcasts a week at this point.
8 episodes.
Yeah, it's fucking insanity. So 8 a month, 2 a week, right? That math works out. So go ahead and subscribe, and then you can hang out with us when we do a little after party. And that's where we'll be right now. So cheers.
Later, guys.
Peace out.